Then
mom.
my mom was like,
T's mom
was like,
T's
let me
mom.
speak for my mother now.
She's my mother-in-law.
So
T's mom was
my
of
mom
the
was the
opinion
opinion
that let me talk. So T's mom was of the opinion that they should give them pounded yam.
I was like, pounded what? Like.
Welcome back to the Oludapos channel. We are glad to have you here again.
Yes.
And we're glad to be here again.
Today is Gist o'clock.
Oh my God.
Yes, story time.
Blessing time. So today,
I don't know this lady. I don't know this lady.
Today we are going to be talking about everything. If you can hear Bella, well, she's a guest on our show tonight. Anyway, we're going to be talking about wedding planning and all the drama that comes with it.
See, I think it's a consistent theme that nobody tells you that wedding planning is a lot. From getting parental consent to actually planning the wedding, it's a lot.
From ashwabi to the choice of food, to bride price.
Yes, and I think what makes it even more serious is that nobody tells you.
Yeah.
This episode, we want to just talk about what makes wedding unnecessarily, difficult, strenuous, that's not supposed to be, what you can do about it. We give you a bit of context so you can be better prepared. Yeah. So send this video to someone that is, about to propose.
To save their lives. Like it will literally
they're about to
save
propose,
their lives.
they just proposed or, enter relationship. You just need to know this. So let's jump right into it. So I think we'll start with our own story and we'll just use that to ease you into the old drama. So I wanted to propose to my babe November. I can't remember the exact date. I wanted to propose initially at Judith's concert. But for me to propose, I need to get your parents' consent. Most like in case you don't know how it works, before you propose, you have to have the lady's parents' approval. They have to give you thumbs up, like go ahead, because proposing is saying we're getting married.
Yeah, and for the lady, you're just waiting to receive the ring, so no headache.
Life no balance. So, and I met her dad in October. We started dating officially in July. I met her dad in October. That's another story. She threw me in the lion's den all by myself. Like I literally.
But that's actually not what happened.
Yeah, of course. I have to make it more dramatic. What do you mean? So we initially actually went together to see her parents, but her dad was out of town, so our mom was the only one at home, and she met my parents as well. So now the dad was not around the week after, so I called him. He was like, "Oh, you guys came around. I wasn't around, but I'm coming to town next week." So and to be the man, I had to be okay. It's okay for me to come. I had to just jump. Okay, is it okay for me to come? He's like, "Oh, sure, no while." So I traveled alone. And I met him alone. Of course, I thought he's a very chilled man. It's not the regular traditional dad. Dad. He's cool. He welcomed me. He sat in the parlor. Of course, I was wise to buy a wine. If you're going to your in-laws' house, don't go empty-handed. Anyways, otherwise
you can buy fruit if you want to buy wine. You're not sure what wine to buy.
Yeah, exactly. So I got him a bottle of wine. I remember calling my friend, to give me recommendations. So I went with wine. Then I got there. He welcomed me. I sat in the sitting room. I think he had another guest.
Why didn't you even call me to tell me what kind of wine? Because it's my dad.
Focus on the purpose of the video. Don't be distracted. So. Then he came to meet me. He was like, "Oh, young man," I was like, how's work?" Of course, she had hinted me that he had asked like 1,000,001 questions about me. So he was like, "How's work?" I said, "Oh, work is fine." He asked a bit about work. I gave, I said a little about it. Then he was like, "Oh, let's see outside." Then he took me outside and we talked. Yeah, so we talked, and that was it. Now, by that time, I was already, in my age, proposal was already close by, because, we're not wasting time. We were sure, we want to do this. So, November came, and I needed to propose. And I was like, how do I ask your dad? I spoke with your sister, and your sister was like, okay, you know what, maybe we should wait. Anyways, to cut the long story short, I had to move the proposal because I couldn't get the dad's approval. I haven't, like, it was
You
too
had not
close.
spoken to
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him. It was too close from when I actually met him. Like, why you guys in a hurry? So I had to move the proposal a bit forward. So, but then I was able to call him later and get the approval and everything. And once I got the approval, then I started, planning proposal. So after proposal, now comes introduction.
Okay, yeah, introduction.
Introduction. So introduction, what is introduction? If you're wondering, introduction is when both families meet officially.
Yeah, and they always meet at the bride's house.
Yes.
Or choosing location.
Yeah.
So.
Although our parents had met prior to that time, unofficially,
unofficially.
and my mom said, it was good.
Amazing family.
It was an amazing family. We have like minds. And me, I was happy, like, yay, everything will be smooth. Little did I know. So, so introduction. So official introduction.
Yeah, introduction happened.
Yeah.
Introduction actually went well.
It went well.
Although after the introduction, we all went inside,
So-
and then
so the
his
way-
parents, my parents, and both of us, we all sat down in, my parlor, my dad's house, my parlor.
I want to just give it context.
Okay.
So what happens introduction is not, of course, you introduce, this is my dad, of course, you're not the one doing it, like, these are the parents of the grooms, are the parents of the bride.
I introduce family members that come with
yes,
you.
you just introduce family. That's it. This is who, this is this person. But another thing that makes introduction special is that's when they give you the bride price.
Yeah.
The list of the things to buy, to bring for the traditional wedding. Then also, that's also when both families also now meet to decide on what the wedding will look like. So after the introduction, yes, go ahead.
So after the introduction, that same day,
Yeah,
we
that
all
same
went
day.
inside.
Yes.
That was when the drama started.
Prior to that time, we already agreed on what kind of wedding we wanted.
We wanted the traditional white wedding and reception the same day. We
Same
didn't want
day.
that whole expense and drama, that like stress that comes with
Yeah.
doing your wedding
Yes.
for 2 days.
We also had agreed on when, the month or the period. Then we also had agreed on the scale of the wedding. So we wanted a small wedding. So now both families are seated and they have to decide all the intricacies of the wedding. So to the point of like, what are we wearing? What are we eating?
So my mom was of the opinion that, it's in the morning, it's so early to start eating anything serious.
Yeah.
Let's just give them yam and egg or just something light, like something breakfastish.
Yeah.
But
Then
T's mom,
my mom was like,
T's mom
was like,
T's
let me
mom,
speak for my mother now.
she's my mother-in-law.
So
So T's mom was
my
of
mom
the
was the
opinion
opinion
that let me talk. So T's mom was of the opinion that they should give them pounded yam.
Yeah.
Laro kutu.
Yeah,
I'm sorry if you're not Yoruba. It means very early in the morning.
according to our guests that are traveling in, let them, and of course, see, you have to understand, African parents, wedding for them is also an opportunity for them to show,
Yeah.
more like to take care of, they take, especially African Yoruba, they take taking care of.
If you go to Yoruba wedding, be rest assured that
you eat, that food is important
eat
to
and
them.
you eat well.
One thing they pride, they want people to say, at that wedding, I ate, and not
we
just
actually
ate,
achieved that, but let's not jump the broom.
yeah, and not just I ate, but the kind of food I ate, so it was important. So my mom was like, let's do pounded down. I was like, pounded what? Like, for God's sake, this is supposed to be, the first event of the day, early in the morning,
So that was number one thing they didn't agree on. I remember my mom was trying to talk that day and then she just kept getting interrupted. Right? So she just kept quiet and just sat down. My mom was literally like this on the chair. Then, T's mom, she literally came with a notebook.
So
with lists
but
and others.
still let me to give context. I have to defend my mom in this show. So normally, wait. No, I didn't mean that.
No, there's no need to even defend. It's just that she's more traditional. So
wait. You guys can see that this is chaotic. You've been postponing recording it. So, in Yoruba tradition, the bride's family takes responsibility. They host the wedding. Yes, and hosting the wedding means taking responsibility and everything. So normally, the way it's supposed to be was, our parents saying, "Oh, this is what people will eat. These are things we go." But my mom, being older and she took matters in her hands, in short, or she took responsibility. Yes, that's a better way to put it. She was just like, "Oh, you know what? I've had an elder daughter get married. I've done weddings for many other people." So she already came with a list of like all the checklists, the way everybody will have checklists, food, vendors, decoration, all the kind of things. She already came with a list, Whereas normally what she's supposed to do is just, give the room for her parents to take that. So when my mom seems to have, had some things in mind, her mom just kept quiet.
So my mom just kept quiet and was like, you know what, just, keep going. Yeah. Then I remember that day, the back and forth was even a lot. I remember I went upstairs to go and change my clothes. And then came back downstairs. Then what was the next drama after that?
Anyways, let's just keep
then they'll try to choose what to wear as well. So that's another drama.
So let's just keep to not bore you with details.
Yeah.
There was so many back and forth on what is what, what to eat, where, and all those kind of things, what to wear. But that's just to give you an idea of the things you have to face, or things that have to be decided. So after that day, fast forward, now came the issue of funding. Who funds what? And we're just saying this to help you. Like, the goal is not just to give you gist. The goal is to help you, just prepare your mind to what it is that you will go through, decisions you have to make regarding wedding. So there's some weddings where maybe the groom says, oh, you know what, I'm going to fund my wedding. I have a friend of mine, his goal was to fund his wedding, everything from his pocket, and he did it. Kudos to him. I was not at that place financially, neither was my wife. And prior to that time, our families have kind of told us that, oh, you know what, we're here for you, we'll support. She corrected me. My family had said, okay, you know what, we're here to support every way we can. So I went into the mind of, okay, you know what, I get back, I know they walk alone. I went into the idea of, you know what, I have the backing of, my family are going to do it. Now, it's more context. Our sister was getting married around the same time. So, and our sister's wedding was supposed to be like an elaborate big wedding. So our parents are already doing a lot of spending. So after the introduction, after the meeting, based on all the decisions, all the agreements that were eventually made, we drew up a budget. And now that's where the second issue came. It became the issue of who pays for what, and not to go into unnecessary details, money matter is also a serious matter.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's the two parties, the couples that understand the parents. So, and we all have different ways of doing things. And I'm saying this because sometimes there are people that they're just meticulous, they want to just put things in writing and they want to share details, I paid for this, tick off. They have Excel sheets like accountants, that kind of a thing. But some people are just trusting. I don't need to do this. If you're telling me what you've paid for, it's like you saying that I didn't trust, what you've done, or you're trying to show off, So most of the time, your parent will disagree on things, not because anybody's doing anything wrong, but because they just different.
They're different. They have different ways of doing things.
So most of the time, you have to take yourself out of the equation and play the middle ground and play the,
And I think a good example was when I think it was your dad that called. No, it was your mom. Yeah. It was your mom that called, and that day we happened to be together. I was at his house that day. Yeah. And his mom called and, she was talking and complaining about a lot of things that my dad was just doing based on, let me stay accountable. Let me keep these people up to date on. Yeah. So when my dad pays for something, like, I can't remember what exactly he paid for.
Like to date, we still have an Excel sheet of all the spendings for our wedding. Yeah. Courtesy of our dad. Our dad just likes that, things done that way.
So my dad created, a sheet, an Excel sheet with all the expenses. And then he also had the habit of, I think he sort of understood that your parents might not be able to understand, what it is that he had or he was doing with the Excel sheet. So whenever he pays for something, or whenever he's about to pay for something, he will update them just to keep them up to date and just like for accountability's sake, right? But they didn't see it that way. They saw it as why are you rubbing it?
I'm not sure how they saw it because they didn't really communicate. Okay. But what it looks like was more like, okay, you paid for it. You don't have to tell us. You don't have to inform us.
It was souvenir that caused this thing. I remember. Oh my God.
So she totally forgot about souvenir.
So she kept complaining, and then I think I told you that I was going to call my dad that he should stop. Yeah. And it was like he told me that I should not do it. I'm like, okay, babe, no problem. I've heard you. Yeah. Then I stood up. I stood up that day. I told her I wanted to go and pee.
Yeah.
So I went to the restroom and then I just called my dad. I said, Daddy, this, because I just did not want that drama.
Yeah.
And I know my dad is understanding. He's not the kind of person that when I go and message them and start being petty or hold it to heart.
Yeah.
So I called my dad and I told him that, oh, Daddy, this was going on. Of course, I didn't tell him that, oh, his mom called and was shouting. I just said, this is how they feel about, this action, this your action. And then it was like, oh, that he didn't actually mean it that way. And that was the last.
That was the
last time.
And I think why this is important is when you understand the people you're dealing with, it gives you the wisdom on how to go about it.
Yeah.
If you know that maybe your dad is the controlling type, he has to always be in charge and everything, communicate that with your partner, let them know, so that the other party, because if one person is always calling the shot, the other people feel like, oh, they're trying to lord it over them, whereas that's just the person's personality. So you have to one skill you must have when it comes to wedding planning is you must have the skill of being a politician. In short, you have to know how to play, just like be the in-between between both sides in a way that, like, if someone say ABC, you don't have to tell the other party that they said ABC.
Yeah.
You might have to communicate, oh, they said GFK. Not because you're trying to lie, but you have to repackage it.
It's just the wise thing to do.
It's just the
for
wise
the
thing
sake
to
of
do.
peace,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes, of course, you have to be the bad cop to your own family and be the good cop to your in-laws.
See, almost all the time, you have to, because the families would come together at the end of the day. So you don't want to go about it that at the end of the wedding, the two families are fighting. So, and a lot of times, it's easier to stand against your parents than to stand against your in-law.
Yes.
So the wise thing to do most of the time is side your in-law and let your partner also side you. So that way, there's just that balance.
Yeah, balance is there.
So from that, many other things happen. Of course, we won't bother go into details, but we're saying all this to say most of the time, what happens right after proposal and introduction, there are things you didn't bargain for. You'll be surprised that your parents will shock you.
And see, we've seen cases where this is actually important.
Yeah.
Like you said, this is not just gist. This is very important because I've seen cases where people decided not to go ahead with the wedding because of the drama.
Sometimes you're disagreeing on bride price, and sometimes, like for instance, a little issue happened with, our own bride price, and it was a simple case of you have grandparents, so the bride price was given by your grandparents, so it's kind of outside the control of your family. So my parents expected your parents to be able to have influence, but the thing is, we don't know how your family operates, so we can't dictate to them.
Even men do not even know.
So we can't really dictate, and see, this is where you have to take it to mind, because most of the time, if you don't have this openness mindset to it, you would end up, demonizing everybody.
Yeah.
And this is just who they are. And one thing that helped us greatly for this is we had a couple that prepared us. We went to meet them prior to the proposal wedding, and they told us they had prepared us. They told us that, see, wedding preparation will stress you.
It's to bring drama.
It's to bring drama. They told us that many couples that never fought till all through their dating 5 years, they fight just prior to getting married. Sometimes it gave us the example of color.
She said that she hates pink.
Pink.
Pink is her worst color, and then her mom and her mother-in-law decided to go for pink. That she entered the hall that day and saw pink gilly from beginning to the end of the hall.
I know. So she just said, this will not stress me. I would. So it's good to have that art. So back to our conversation. So all that happened, and it was just a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot, and most of the time we have to come back to ourselves and hold each other's hands and say, see, all this will come and we go.
Yeah.
And I think an important lesson.
Wait, think about it. We actually tried. I don't remember a single time where we fought each other.
No. Because we were prepared.
Actually.
Yeah, we were prepared. They prepared us that drama will happen. So when, all the things happening with, parents, they were enough to make us fight, but we never took sides, we were always, and because, anyways, so one thing that helped us is we always come together and just say, hold each other's hands, just say, you know what, we'll be fine. And I think this is an important point. I think I'll let my wife talk about it. And that's how many people, which heightens the drama, they put so much attention on the ceremony and not the family or the marriage after. Because at the end of the day, you have to come to what's important to you.
Yeah.
Is it the food people eat or the food you you eat in your own house after? You know, I'd like to talk a bit about that.
So, when I talk to people and they are sold out to the idea of, oh, dream wedding, and the dream wedding is never according to their own budgets.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is what I've always dreamt about. Then you're not there yet. I mean, you can still have that dream wedding, maybe at your vow renewal or something. But like, you're not there. You're not there financially. Why do you still want to break the bank to have this so-called dream wedding? I mean, at the end of the day, the important thing is that you're with this partner, this person that you love so much.
Yeah.
How about you think about that and just focus on it? And if it's just 5 people I have at my wedding, the important thing is I'm marrying this person.
Yes.
And see, nothing else counts.
Yeah.
And that was important. That was, in fact, from the very onset.
Yeah, that was important.
That was very important to us. We didn't invite, I think, overall, we had 150 guests at our wedding, if not less.
We didn't have about 250.
We didn't have, because our plan was 150. And then most of the people we invited did not even come because they had to travel. Some people had last minute, they had to travel. So many of them didn't even come. Like, so that's the, we didn't even up to 150.
To date, some people are still angry with us for not inviting them to our wedding, you know, but we knew what our budget was like.
Yeah.
And, you know, first thing I did prior to start spending on wedding was, you know, okay, we had, you know, our apartment already, is getting the apartment ready for the life. You know, I said before we start
putting
spending
all the basic
money,
things in, making sure we have the basic amenities that will help us survive. We had our bed.
Yes.
We had painted the house because we had painted the house. We had all the basic things,
you know.
So
and this is important because many people, because you've been dreaming about your wedding since you were a child, now you put unnecessary pressure that you even have the money does not mean you can afford it. Mm-hmm. You know, that you have 10 million naira, you know, in your account does not mean you can actually afford
someone
10
said
million
something
naira.
wise. The person said that before you put money aside for your wedding, make sure you can pay at least 2 years rent. Just pay it, put it down before you now start saying, okay, this is what I want to do for my wedding, this is what I want to do for my wedding. Because you just realize that then if you put 1 million aside for your wedding, or 2 million, 5 million, you just realize that it's not enough.
In
to that last day, on the wedding day, even the day after the wedding, we still spent.
Yeah.
So and we had a budget and we stuck to the budget, but we still spent outside that budget to show you how how crazy it is.
See what makes this important is still coming back to what is important to you.
Yeah, what's important to you?
You know, some people need bid or have a dream wedding. They go for venue that they can't afford. The venue used for our wedding was not even the main hall of the wedding. It was Civic Center in Ibadan. It wasn't the main, or was one of the smaller halls. You know. Why? Because the bigger the hall, the bigger the decoration, you know, the bigger the sound,
more expenses, basically.
You know.
And
why is it important that you have to use that big thing? If you have people that are sponsoring that, maybe your parents want to fund that and everything, you know.
No, it's okay if you have the wedding. We're not saying big weddings are bad.
Yes.
We're just saying cut your coat according to your size.
And
that's it.
And prioritize what is important to you and what you can get away with your parents. Because sometimes I've realized that sometimes you can't always have your way. Yeah. You might say you want a big wedding, your parents say you might say you want a small wedding, your parents want big weddings, and you can't go about it.
Yeah, just be clear that this is what you have. So if they are making you go out of your way to do what you don't want to do, they should be able to fund it.
And by the time you've put the money aside for the life after, you know, let's say you already paid for your rent, like at the end of the day, this is what I have, you know. Don't go into debt, you know, or don't go into unnecessary debt. Let me put in context, you know, or debt you can't have plans to pay back just to satisfy people. You know, which back to what I'm saying, what is important to you? For us, it was important, you know, who joins us. It was important that it was important who joins us. It was important that we have a spiritual atmosphere.
Yeah.
You
so
know?
we had like a whole worship.
The word was important. The worship.
I mean, our wedding video is on our channel, so you can just go back and watch it for context.
You know, the word was important. The worship was important. After that, we didn't really care about anything. We didn't care about what people eat.
We didn't even eat out of anything that they ate at our wedding.
Yeah. We learned the food was nice, but we didn't.
And then you know how people go for weddings and then they have options. Those things are actually expensive. And I don't think you realize how expensive they are until you start planning your own wedding. So we just told our parents, I think it was his parents that handled
my parents
food. They actually handled everything that's to be food.
Yeah, from beginning to the end.
So, and it was actually a lot. I mean, Tolu's mom is she likes, our African mothers now, even if you're angry with them, just make sure you eat.
A plus plus.
A plus plus.
You know, she even told that when the food finished and they still cooked. We had no idea.
We had no idea.
You know.
And those were the things that we didn't want to be bothered about.
Yes.
So
what was important to us was
outsource, but make sure it's affordable. Something you can afford.
Yes, you know. So we just focused on, you know, the worship, the people taking care of the joining, also capturing the pictures and videos, you know. Then of course the after party. You know, we didn't have a reception. We didn't have. What we did was we kind of brought reception element into the joining. So after
father-daughter dance,
yes, after the joining, after the kiss, you know, father-daughter dance, you know, couples first dance, and that was it. Yeah, to just add a little. We had an after party, just like a games thing.
So it was like a private. We wanted something intimate because we really. I'm just glad we're actually on the same page about this.
Yeah,
because we both did not understand the concept of you're having a reception and like it's the same crowd that was at the wedding. You don't even know most of these people to be honest. Like you don't even know these people. So we wanted something private, something that we'll be able to cherish, something to remember, something intimate. Yeah. So we didn't have that general reception with people. We had our own private thing, reception where it was just our friends. I can literally remember every single person that was there. And we're able to be ourselves. We didn't see the need to pretend or, you know, try to see or just be worried about what someone else would think. Yeah. Right. So we ourselves, we had so much fun. So,
and of course, not everybody will be able to have their way like this, you know, but what's the most important is that you both agree. So let's just wrap this video up by sharing things that will help you. Number one is both agree. Before you meet your parents, before you both agree, you know, you agree on how you want it to be, the scale and everything. It's easier to convince parents when you're both agreed. So imagine two of you are even still crossed on how you want it to be, you know. So I agree with each other. And number two is get a planner. You know, we can't stress that enough. Maybe even if not an official planner, it's more difficult when two of you are the one running around looking for the venue, you know, delegate some of these things. Then the next one is decide who pays for what. Decide who pays for what. You know, which one are you taking? Which one are your family taking? Which one are our family taking? It helps you when you decide that. And I think the last one is
And also, I think it's also important to state that both partners rather should be very involved in the planning. Yeah. Because I've seen cases where the woman is just left with it because men believe, it should come natural to women. Please. Yeah. Gentlemen, men. It does not come natural to women. Like, we've never done this before. So we are as confused as you are. We are as clueless as you are. So please, no matter how exposed.
When she's asking you, so what color should you say? Pick it now. What food should you pick it now?
Don't do that. It can be very frustrating. Like, wedding is as stressful as it can be. And then the last thing anybody wants is one partner not being involved or being helpful. So that's by the way. And
hopefully more married couples can also just give credit to some of the things that, you know, we shared. How did you go about yours? You know, what was the experience like?
Are we lying or are we telling the truth?
You know, let us know. See you in the next video. Subscribe, share, like.
Bye.